Hi, Mike Branham with Gallion, Welker, and Beckstrom, and today we're going to talk about Arizona State Trust Land. Now, if you're not from St. George, it might seem weird to be talking about Arizona for a St. George, Utah law firm. Those of us who live here in St. George know that we're right in the corner between Nevada and Arizona. In fact, it's only about 4 miles from my house down south into the state of Arizona. So a little bit of history about Arizona State Trust Land. The territory of Arizona was established all the way back in 1863, and Congress set aside land when the territory was formed so that there would be benefits for the schools. In 1910, Congress passed the Enabling Act, which not only changed the territory of Arizona into a state, but also set aside further land for funding of education in the state of Arizona. Arizona created their first state land commission in 1912, and the commission concluded that the Arizona State Trust Land should be administered for their highest and best use. The Arizona State Land Department was established in 1915 by the commission so that there would be someone to oversee Arizona State Trust Lands. Arizona State Trust Lands are actually protected within the Arizona State Constitution. In addition to funding the K-12 public schools in the state of Arizona, they also fund the state-run universities, the School for the Deaf and Blind, the state hospital, state penitentiaries. They pay for upkeep of state buildings, and they also fund the Arizona State Pioneers Home. Now today, the Arizona State Land Trust holds 9.2 million of the nearly 11 million acres that were originally set aside by Congress. As the trust has sold off land over the years, the proceeds from that have gone into a permanent fund trust. And a permanent fund trust, like the one they have up in Alaska, the permanent fund portion of the trust is never spent. The only thing that's ever spent is the dividends from that permanent fund amount. Now, K-12 education in the state of Arizona in 2019 received $505 million from the Permanent Fund Trust. The balance in the fund totaled $5.97 billion in that fund, with $5.6 billion of that belonging to K-12 schools, by far the largest holder of the state trust lands. The state's penitentiary system received over $7 million. Pioneer Homes got $14 million, and almost $900,000 went to pay for maintenance of state buildings in the state of Arizona. So, here in St. George, we spend a lot of time recreating on Arizona State Trust lands and along the Arizona Strip. The Arizona Strip is that area of Arizona north of the Grand Canyon that's almost more part of Utah than it is part of the state of Arizona. It's minutes from St. George, and it beckons to residents from St. George to go down there and recreate. Now, what is recreation on Arizona State Trust lands? Literally anything except driving your vehicle from point A to point B across Arizona State Trust lands is considered recreation. I actually had a client come into my office who was cited on our Arizona State Trust lands for sitting in his vehicle eating an apple. A permit is required, and you have to be able to present that permit if you're found on Arizona State Trust lands, and like I said, you're doing anything other than driving across from point A to point B. Failure to present a permit will result in a trespassing citation, which is a misdemeanor in the state of Arizona. More on that in a minute. So why is this so confusing? Well, people that have lived here all their lives don't know the difference between where Arizona State Trust land is and BLM land is. Most of the land in the Arizona Strip area is either BLM land or part of one of the national monuments or national parks or national forests. But if you look at the map here, you can see that the light blue colored patches are Arizona State Trust land. The big red line here is Interstate 15 as it comes out of Utah and passes through Arizona into the Virgin River Gorge. And this other red line right here where it's touching the state line between Utah and Arizona is the Southern Parkway, and this is the very southern end of River Road. If you go south on River Road from St. George and you do not stop, you will end up in Arizona, and as a matter of fact, you will end up driving directly onto Arizona State Trust lands. The signs that mark Arizona State Trust lands are small, most of them are sun-faded, and you really can't read them unless you stop and get out of your vehicle and walk over to the signpost and bend down and look at them, because most of the ones I've seen are about knee height out there on the Arizona State Trust land. If you have a valid hunting permit in the state of Arizona, you can hunt on Arizona State Trust lands, and that permit is good to be on the land for that purpose. If you're going to do anything else while you're out there, geocaching, camping, anything other than harvesting, whatever it is you have a hunting permit to be out there for, you have to have a recreational permit in addition to a hunting permit. There is no target practice on Arizona State Trust lands. So if you're in the light blue, no target practice. If you're anywhere else on BLM land, as long as you're being safe, BLM enforcement does not care if you discharge firearms on BLM property. Like I said, as long as you're being safe about it, make sure you know where your rounds are going to end up downrange. But if you're on Arizona State Trust land, the only time you can discharge a firearm is when you're in the process of hunting. Even if you're out there hunting, you can't sight your gun in. You have to be actually in the process of harvesting an animal at the time when you discharge your weapon. Even if you have a recreational permit, if you're caught on Arizona State Trust lands target practicing, they will consider that a violation of the permit because the permit very clearly states that you're not to discharge a firearm. Again, you'll be cited for trespassing, which is a misdemeanor offense. Some of the areas on state trust land are leased and are off limits. If you see signs that say no trespassing, even if you're in one of the light blue areas, if there's a mining company out there that is leased land, or a cattle company is leased land, or a gravel company that's leased land, and it is posted no trespassing, those areas are off limits. There are also additional permits that are required if you're out there prospecting for gold or silver or precious metals, or you're out there to do some rock hounding. If you're going to take anything from the Arizona State Trust lands, that is an additional permit, and they also forbid you from even visiting any archaeological sites that are found on their land. So trespassing in the state of Arizona is a Class 3 misdemeanor. It's normally subject to a $500 fine. You can get up to 30 days in jail. It's very unlikely you're going to be put in jail, but you're most definitely going to pay the fine if you get charged with a misdemeanor. The mere threat of jail time requires the state of Arizona to appoint a lawyer, so they're probably not going to threaten any jail time because they aren't going to want to pay for a public defender for you. Yes, this will show up on your criminal records check, and no, Arizona does not allow you to have that taken off your record just because you behave for a year or two. So before you go, make sure you get a permit. You can apply online and print them out. They're $15, another $5 for a total of $20 will get you a permit for your family. That's good for you, spouse, and any of your children in the household. If you're target shooting, get a GPS program for your phone. There's one called Onyx Maps, there's one called Avenza Maps. There are probably other alternatives out there, but both of those should be able to tell you where you are and who owns the land that you're standing on to keep you out of trouble. So if you live here in St. George, enjoy the Arizona Strip. Make sure you've got a permit. Make sure you know when you're on Arizona State Trust lands. I'm Mike Brandon for Gallion, Welker, and Beckstrom.